Dear friends, good morning. I'm Dr.S.Selvakumar, Department of Agricultural Biotechnology, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research. Today, we are going to see the cancer biology subject code U18Pebt022, topic physical carcinogenesis. Right. Let us see one by one. What is the definition of physical carcinogens or the normal carcinogens? What is carcinogenesis? Carcinogen, carcinogenesis. What is carcinogenesis? Carcinogenesis is a process, normal fundamental process of developing a benign tumor. How will you define the carcinogenesis? We'll see carcinogenesis, also called oncogenesis or tumorigenesis. It is the formation of a cancer whereby the normal cells are transformed into the cancer. The process is characterized by the changes at the cellular, genetic, and the epigenetic levels and the abnormal cell division. Right. Next question. What is oncogenesis? So oncogenesis is nothing but carcinogenesis. Both are more or less similar. This is causing process. So cell division is a physiological process that occurs in the almost all tissues and under the variety of circumstances. Normally, and the balance between the proliferation and the apoptosis or the programmed cell death. In the form of apoptosis is maintained to ensure the integrity of tissues and organs. Next, I'm coming to what causes the carcinogenesis. There are three different types of carcinogenesis: physical carcinogenesis, chemical carcinogenesis, and biological carcinogenesis or oncogenic. So let us see one by one. Today we are going to see the physical carcinogenesis. What causes the carcinogenesis? So some of the most common substances and the continuous exposures are known as being carcinogenic to the human beings includes there are many more number of substances which have the ability to cause the human cancer. For example, alcoholic beverages, arsenic, inorganic arsenic compounds, asbestos, mineral substances, and etc. Next, I'm coming to the theories of carcinogenesis. There are four different theories which are describing the process of the carcinogenesis. The theory number one is called genetic theory. Number two, epigenetic theory. The theory number three, immune survivalist theory. And number fourth theory, monoclonal hypothesis. Let us see one. What is a genetic theory? The most popular theory, the cells become a neoplastic. Neoplastic means cancer. So the cells become neoplastic because of the alterations in the DNA. The mutated cells transmit their characters to the next progeny of the cells. For example, we have some evidence. Many physical, for example, radiations and chemical agents are causing cancer, bringing about the mutations in the host cells. The second evidence, xeroderma pigmentosum. It's a very rare hereditary disorder prone to develop the skin cancer, that is melanoma. The inherent inability to repair DNA damaged by the ultraviolet radiations. The concept of the activation of the growth promoting oncogenes and induction of some cancers and inactivation of growth suppressing anti-oncogenes or in few some others. Next, I'm coming to the epigenetic theory. The carcinogenic agents. It may be a physical carcinogen or chemical carcinogen, etc. So the carcinogenic agents act on the activators or suppressors of the genes and not on the genes themselves and result in the abnormal expression of the genes. The second point, less well supported than the genetic theory. It's the less supported theory. So the initial mutation by carcinogen, it superimposes on the epigenetic phenomena because the examples of oncogenesis based on the epigenetic theory alone. It is more rare. Next, I'm coming to immunosurveillance theory. An immune competent, the host mounts an attack on a developing tumor cells. So, as to destroy them, while an immune incompetent host fails to do so. So, there are some evidences. So, there is high incidence of cancer in immunodeficient individuals. For example, AIDS patients. Most cancers occurs more frequently in the older age when the host immune response are weak. Certain tumors accompanied by the good host immune response in the form of the stromal infiltration by the lymphocytes and the plasma cells have the better prognosis. For example, a medullary carcinoma of the breast and some other cancer, for example, testis cancer, etc. Next, I'm coming to the monoclonal hypo. The strong evidence on the studies of the human and the experimental animal tumors that most cancers arise from a single clone of transformed cells. In case of multiple myeloma, what is multiple myeloma? It's a neoplasm of the plasma cells. Neoplasm of the plasma cells, there is the production of a single type of immunoglobulin or its chain as seen by a monoclonal spikes in the serum erythrocytes. In many other hematopoietic malignancies also, the cell surface markers used to establish the monoclonal origin. The final one, multi-step theory, is something less important. According to this theory, a carcinogenesis is a multi-stage or multi-step process. For example, in the process of chemical carcinogenesis, there are two different essential features in the proper sequence, that is initiation and promotion. Next, most cancers arise after several mutations which have been acquired in the proper sequence. It is possible that many tumors arise from the combination of the activation of a growth promoting oncogenes and the inactivation of a growth suppressing anti-oncogenes. Fourth, in some cancers, there is a stepwise and initial dysplastic changes that may progress into a carcinoma in situ and then into the invasive or malignant carcinomas. Next, I'm going to the process of carcinogenesis. So the process of carcinogenesis may be divided into at least three different stages: initiation, promotion, progression. So number one, initiation; number two, promotion; number three, progression. The first stage of carcinogenesis is called initiation. It results from the irreversible genetic alterations. Most likely, one or more simple mutations or transversions or transitions and the small deletions in the DNA. Next, I'm coming to carcinogens and mutagens. What is carcinogen? What is mutagen? A carcinogen is any agent that directly increases the incidence of cancer. Most, but not all carcinogens are mutagens, but most of the mutagens are carcinogens. So carcinogens that do not directly damage the DNA molecule include substances that accelerate cell division and thereby leaving less opportunity for cell to repair induced mutations or the errors in the replication. Next, I'm coming to carcinogens. A carcinogen is a specific chemical or physical agent that has the ability to cause the cancer in individuals exposed to that agent. And intrinsically, some carcinogenic agents are associated with increasing the risk of developing specific types of tumors. Next, one good example is a carcinogen is called asbestos. So the asbestos continuous exposure, particularly to workers in the industrial settings or people who lived under the asbestos state, has actually been strongly linked to the development of a specific type of lung cancer is called mesothelioma. Oma means swelling. Mesothelioma. So importantly, when we have identified the causes, we can then go on to take the specific measurements to limit our exposure and so reduce the incidence of the specific cancer associated with the carcinoma. For example, and the limited exposure of asbestos exposure. The next question arises. Sir, you are talking about carcinogens. How does the body get rid of the carcinogens or carcinogens? There are six different ways to detox your life from the carcinogens. What are the six important parts? So, which is get rid of the carcinogens. Stay active. Number one. Stay active. Always stay active. Exercising for as little as minimum 30 minutes. It will reduce the risk of cancer for a multiple reasons. Second important, care. Choose a cancer fighting diet. More fibers, more vitamins, especially carotenoids. So, one drink a day, but which is not mostly applicable. So, now coming to next point. Be aware of indoor toxins. And the fifth point, live tobacco-free lifestyle. The last one, avoid sunlight. What sir you are saying? Just avoid sunlight. Yes, because sunlight has ultraviolet radiation. The body continuously exposed to the sunlight, your DNA getting repaired or damaged because of the UV radiations. So the UV radiations is a physical agent which leads to the mutation. Mutation leads to the tumor. So avoid the sunlight. Next, I'm coming to the types of carcinogens. There are three different types of chemicals known as carcinogens that can cause the number one, pro-carcinogens. The pro-carcinogens cause cancer due to being changed during the metabolism. The second thing is called co-carcinogens. The co-carcinogens which cause cancer by acting with the another chemical. So the directly acting carcinogens which can cause the cancer as it is. It is called directly acting carcinogens. Next, I'm coming to the classification of the carcinogens. So carcinogens may be classified into the direct carcinogens. Number two, indirect. So there are two different categories of the carcinogens. What is a direct carcinogen? So the direct carcinogens, those which do not require the metabolic activity or any molecular modification in order to induce the DNA damage are called direct acting carcinogens. For example, the ultraviolet radiations, irradiations, alkylating agents. Next, I'm coming to the indirect carcinogens. Indirectly acting genotoxic carcinogens. They do not bind to the DNA molecule until they have been biotransformed in the human body to the reactive effects. So among the indirect acting carcinogens, the polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, nitrosoamides, example, we can say PAH, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons and nitrosoamides are found in the cigarette smoke. So polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons are also found the charcoal boiled chicken or mutton, that is charcoal boiled meat. So it may secrete the indoor toxins, for example, aflatoxin B1. It may cause the human body. So it is called indirect carcinogen. What is the principle of the physical carcinogenesis? There is a theory called that the physical particles cause irritations in the surrounding tissue, resulting in inflammation. The body's normal inflammatory response involves the proliferation of surrounding cells and infiltration of the tissue with the new cells. The principle of the physical carcinogens. Right. Physical carcinogens. The physical carcinogens include the soft materials, the hard materials, fibrous materials, non-fibrous particles, and the gel materials. The first scientific demonstration of the carcinogenic capacity of the physical agents was made by Turner, who found the baked light disc that is implanted in the rats provoked the local fibrosarcomas. So the physical carcinogens, which is include the ultraviolet rays from the sunlight and ionizing radiation from the X-rays and from the radioactive materials from the industries in the general environment. Next, I'm coming to in continuation of the physical carcinogenesis. So the physical agents in the carcinogenesis are divided into two groups. One, the radiation, that is both ultraviolet light and ionizing radiation is the most important physical agent. The second type, non-radiation physical agents, which are various forms of injury and are less important. So next I'm coming to the diagram of explaining the physical carcinogenesis. Next I'm coming to the radiation carcinogenesis. So the ultraviolet and ionizing radiations, there are two main forms of the radiation carcinogens, which can induce the cancer in the experimental animals and are implicated in the causation of some forms of the human. A progeny, a common, the appearance of a mutation followed by a long period of latency after the initial exposure. It mostly often tend to 20 years or even sometimes more than that of 20 years. So may have a sequential stage of initiation, a promotion and progression in the evolution. Correct? Next one coming to the UV radiation, ultraviolet radiation. Remember, I told you we should not expose more time to the sunlight, especially morning 8 o'clock to evening nearly 3 to 4. Thereafter, good sunlight, because after 4 o'clock, the sunlight is so important for the bone development. Basically, morning or afternoon time of sunlight many different type of radiations like ultraviolet radiations, alpha, beta, gamma, delta radiations, etc. So the UV radiation, the main source of the UV radiation is the sun. Others are the UV lamps and welders are. So it penetrates the skin for the few millimeters so that its effect is limited to epidermis. The efficiency of ultraviolet light as carcinogen and the extent of light absorbing or protective melanin pigmentation of the humans. And basically, in the humans, the excessive exposure to UV rays can cause the various form of human skin cancer. For example, a squamous cell carcinoma, basal cell carcinoma, and melanomas. Yes, right. Next, I'm coming to the mechanism of a physical carcinoma. The most important is the induction of mutation, the inhibition of cell division, inactivation of enzymes, and sometimes causing the apoptosis or the most importantly, the biochemical effect of ultraviolet radiation is the formation of pyrimidine dimers in the DNA. So, the ultraviolet rays induce DNA damage in the normal individuals is repaired. Why? The predisposed persons who are excessively exposed to the sunlight, such damage remain unrepaired. For example, xeroderma pigmentosa is predisposed to the skin cancer at the younger age, that is under 20 years of under 20, 19 years, 18 years, maximum 20 years. So the ataxia, telangiectasia is predisposed to the leukemia. So the Bloom syndrome is predisposed to all type of the Fanconi's anemia with increased risk to develop the malignancy. Next, I'm coming to ionizing radiation or IR. So the ionizing radiation of all rays like X-rays, alpha rays, beta rays, and gamma rays. So the radioactive isotopes, protons and neutrons, it can cause the cancer in the animals and in human beings. So most frequently, the radiation-induced cancers are all forms of leukemia except CLL. What is CLL? Chronic lymphocytic leukemia. The others are cancers of the thyroid, most commonly papillary carcinomas, skin cancer, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, uterus cancer, lung cancer, myelomas, and cancer of the salivary. The risk is increased by the higher a dose and with the high linear energy transfer, LET, linear energy transfer. So the risk based on the dosage, higher dosage with high LET, linear energy transfer, such as the neutrons and alpha rays, than with low LET in the X-rays and gamma rays. What is the mechanism behind? So the radiation damages to the DNA of the cell by one of two possible mechanism. Number one, it may directly alter the cellular DNA. So may cause the chromosomal breakages, a translocation, or the point mutation. Second mechanism, it may dislodge the ions from the water and other molecules of the cell and result in the formation of highly reactive free radicals that may bring about the DNA change. Next, I'm coming to the non-radiation carcinogenesis or non-radiation carcinogenesis. The mechanical injury to the tissues, such as from the stones in the gallbladder, the stones in the urinary tract, and healed scans, burning wounds, or that trauma, sometimes accidents, is the risk of a carcinomas. In these tissues, there is evidence is not convincing. So the other examples of the physical change in the carcinogenesis are the implants of inert materials such as plastics, glass, etc. So in prostheses or otherwise and the foreign bodies observed to cause the tumor development. The physical carcinogens and tumor. Ultimately, the carcinogens result in the damage to the DNA within the cells. This damage has a number of effects, including the prolonged growth and spread of cancer cells throughout the body, that is metastasis. One way that DNA can be damaged is by ROS. What is ROS? Reactive oxygen species and reactive nitrogen species or RNS. Next, I'm coming to the reactive oxygen species or ROS. Very important in disease biology. ROS. Reactive oxygen species. So the reactive oxygen species now appreciated for the cellular signaling capabilities. It has a dual role. On the one hand, the ROS can promote the pro-tumorigenic signaling. It facilitates the cancer cell proliferation, cancer cell survival, and the adaptation to hypoxia. Most reactive oxygen species are generated by products during the mitochondrial electron transport. The sequential reduction of oxygen through the addition of the electrons, it leads to the formation of number of reactive oxygen species, including the superoxides, hydrogen peroxides, hydroxyl radicals, hydroxyl ions, and nitric oxide. These are the reactive oxygen. Next, I'm coming to the reactive nitrogen species. There is now a common agreement that reactive oxygen and nitrogen species are involved in the development of the progression of several human cancers like breast cancer, prostate cancer, colorectal cancer, gynecological tumors, cervical tumors, eye cancers, skin cancer like melanomas, leukemias, chronic myeloid leukemias, gastric cancers, etc. So these are the important things about the physical carcinogens.